Hello friends, it's a Loopy project guy and talking about the next step in building my cabin down by the river. So first, as we always talk about first, is what we're doing for help. Today we've got just one crew member to help me and support me, and he's going to mainly do supervision, but we got Wiley here. Say hi, Wiley. Looks like he's just going to lay here and enjoy the sun in this beautiful Texas Hill Country day. All right, so since last time we spoke, we started framing project and got that complete for the cabin, and installed the plumbing that's going to go through the floor and under the flooring. It's really important to get all that put in before you do any of the decking, because by that point it's too late. So before you do any of the decking, make sure you think really hard about what all is necessary to put under the floor, because once you put the decking and insulation on top of that subfloor, you're going to put yourself in a bad, tight spot. So I put in the vents and drain connections before, or by the last time we spoke, put in insulation under the subfloor, and have put in the decking for the floor itself. So I'm going to show you some of those details now. So first off, we've got a drain for our outside sink, a drain and vent connection for our inside bathroom sink. We have our vents for the toilet and the shower, and we have our drain stub ups for the shower and for the toilet. The drains, they need to be sloped at about 1/4 inch per foot to make sure you have good drainage out to the line coming out of the cabin, which will head into a septic tank eventually. The vents will all go through, be landed in the center line of a wall, and they'll go up through the attic space and vent outside. So not a very difficult plumbing job, but one that you really have to think about and lay out in a plan before you start that work. So that plumbing, the parts for that ended up costing right around $200. Okay, the next part then was to put insulation underneath the subfloor. And unfortunately, I did not take pictures of the insulation and video that before I put the decking on top. But essentially what we did is the insulation, you know, if you tried to put it in between your joists here, the insulation, of course, would just fall directly through. So what I actually did is I just got some wire, put a nail in about every 2 foot, and on the opposite side, the center of those 2 feet. And then I wrapped a wire going back and forth through the extent of the joist and rolled the insulation where it laid on top of that wire, and then stapled the paper side up to the joist. The paper side up does offer a bit of a vapor barrier to help protect the subfloor. But since we have good ventilation here, getting moisture into the subfloor is not a big concern. The next step then was to put down the insulation, by the way, ended up costing about $240. I used R19 insulation in the subfloor, which is a recommendation for this particular area of the country. Then the next step was to put down the OSB decking. So this will be the floor under my final finished floor in the cabin itself. Hi, Wiley. And this is a tongue and groove OSB, 7/8 inch thick, pretty stout material, good quality stuff, and will make a good base for our floor that we eventually put in. So that's what we've accomplished since last time we talked. So what's next? Well, we went and got our deck boards for the decking. We want to keep them all wood. Of course, they have composite materials now that hold up a lot better over time, cost you a bit more, but much lower maintenance. We wanted to stick with something a bit more authentic out here, so we went with pine treated wood for the decking, and we'll be putting them across these joists here, and this will be the outside part of the cabin. I will mention everything we put in thus far to this point in the project has been pressure treated wood. after this point, we'll be going with untreated pine. So then the next thing we'll be doing is putting down the layout for the framing of the cabin itself on the OSB with string lines, and make sure we have all the walls, the doorways, everything marked out really well and squared up, such that when we start the framing and we put the walls up into place, they're good and square and are lined up as we need them to be, so all of our subsequent materials, windows, doors, etc. will fit. And then we'll begin the framing. So that's where we're at in the project, folks. I hope you enjoy this video, and I look forward to talking to you next time and showing you the progress. But until then, we'll say goodbye. Say goodbye, Wiley. All right, and view of the river from the balcony. Until next time.